Welcome learners. The block titled Tribals of Central India consists of 4 units. Major tribal groups that are found in the 9 states of Central India have been discussed in this block, namely Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Jharkhand and Orissa, Goa and Maharashtra, and Bihar and West Bengal.
Unit 2 exclusively deals with tribes of Gujarat, Jharkhand and Orissa.
This unit provides information about the distribution of scheduled tribes in India and later moves on to provide information about the major tribes found in the 3 states, namely Gujarat, Jharkhand and Orissa. It also discusses the tribal pattern, the mobilization of the tribes, as well as the development of the tribal population in the 3 mentioned states.
In this video titled Tribes of Gujarat, Jharkhand and Orissa 1, we will be discussing about the tribes of Gujarat in detail.
And you should be able to understand the socio-economic and cultural life of these tribes, analyze the challenges and opportunities for development of these tribal communities, and study the efforts of the governmental agencies and other stakeholders towards mainstreaming the tribes.
Let us now talk about the tribal habitation of Gujarat.
The largest concentration of tribal people anywhere in this world, except perhaps Africa, is in India. It is interesting to note that there are 613 tribes inhabited all over India. Out of this total tribal population, in Gujarat alone, there are 89 lakh tribals, which indicates 14.75% of the tribal population of the state. In the list of scheduled tribes of the country, 28 communities have been recorded in the state as belonging to what is popularly known as Adivasis, which has served as a generic term for all the different communities. But Census 2011 shows that there are only 29 types of tribals alive in Gujarat, in which only 5 tribal groups are in their original form. In terms of population of these Adivasis, Gujarat ranks 5th in the country. Besides 11 districts and 43 taluka of east and south of the state, there are 21 pocket areas and 4 cluster areas in which the glimpses of different tribals are found. Most tribes are concentrated in heavily forested areas. Historically, the economy of most tribes depends on agriculture or hunting and gathering forest produce. They trade with outsiders for the few necessities. They lack items such as salt, cooking utensils, iron, and the like. Their identity was intact before intrusion of modern civilization and urban economic development. Nearly 68 million tribals lived in India according to the 1991 census, but number has now reduced substantially as forest resources minimized. Economic constraints and modern lifestyles have forced them to interact with the modern generation. As regards the sources of their livelihood, they depend on 3 sources: forest, agriculture, and migration. Forest contributes a source of substance and employment to the tribals. They sustain themselves by collection and consumption of forest produce. The serene source is that of agriculture. Most tribal cultivate on their own lands or the disputed lands to which they claim titles rain-fed crops or crop combinations, that is paddy and minor cereals and pulses. After the monsoon, immigration in employment becomes the source of income for the tribal. Continuous deforestation and increasing population of forest under government and productivity in the absence of non-farm jobs have created crisis of livelihood in the tribal areas.
Occupation and culture.
The occupational structure of the tribal population suggests that agricultural development is the essential key factor. The transformation of agriculture involves revolutionary changes on productivity, fertility, and efficiency in cropping pattern along with remuneration. Forestry plantation and extended horticultural development, including Wadi type project, are having enormous potential of tribal development. As regards the culture of the tribals, dance with all its intricacies is a salient feature of the social expansion of the tribal communities and constitute an important part of ceremonies connected with marriage, harvesting, and funeral rites. The aesthetic awareness is also revealed in their personal adornments and belongings. The cult of the token is an important feature in the tribal culture which has conditioned the life and thought of the people and their arts and crafts. Totems are propitiated through ritual and magic. Among the arts and crafts of the tribal communities of Gujarat, the most interesting are textiles, wood and ivory carving, horn, bamboo and cane work, and making of a variety of archetypal bronze used for ritual and domestic purposes. In terms of literacy, there has been a considerable improvement in tribal literacy rate in the last 3 decades due to efforts of the government and voluntary organizations. Tribal areas have not remained the same. They are changing in their external context due to policy and programmatic interventions of the state and other socio-economic forces. The tribal areas are recipients of developmental projects whose benefits have reached even the interior forest villages of Dangs and Dharampur. Tilakwada and Chota Udaipur roads, schools, health centers, state transport, and many other social infrastructural services are now accessible to forest dwellers also. Because of the presence of these vertical linkages, some of the tribal villages have now become dependent on metropolitan centers like Ahmedabad, Baroda, and Surat for trade and commerce, industry, education, and employment.
There are a number of tribes in Gujarat. The 4 major tribes are Bhil, Halpatis, Vasavas, and Ratwa are discussed in the following section.
We will begin with Bhil tribes first. Tribals with Bhil features account for around 50% of the state's Adivasi population. Bhils, since ancient times, have been keeping bows and arrows with them. They include tribes like Garasia, Bilala, Dholi Bhil, Bhil Raval, Bhil Vasava, Pawara, Thadvi, etc. Bhils are dark in complexion, strong in build, short and stout. Bhil usually stay in scattered hutments made of clay, grass and other indigenous material. Bhil live both in rural and urban areas. Bhil traditionally put on short dhoti, a chadar and a safa covering their heads. The women wear coats, mini saris and backless blouses. A silver boriyu, solid round kadu anklet, markio, naja kadiyo, big rings decorate a Bhil man while the women adorn anklets on legs, silver waist rings, silver rings on fingers, etc. Bhil usually eat maize and urad dal. Besides, they consume kodri, a rice substitute, kuti, barto, banti, gram, wheat, rice, pea, tuor, etc. They consume meat of buffalo, chicken, deer, rabbit, etc. Liquor is also freely consumed during religious ceremonies. As per 2011 census, the level of literacy among Bhil tribe was 59.8%. They are typically agriculturist tribe, but besides agriculture, they are also engaged in other occupations including labor work, roads and construction work, earthwork and the like. Bhils worship the ancestors and they offer them the meat of goat or chicken. Some liquor is also poured on the holy stone. Bhils are known for their special dance and songs. They have their own peculiar dialect, which is still in oral form. They communicate in their own speech, but when they move out of their places, they speak and understand Gujarati.
Halpati.
Among the scheduled tribes, Halpati is one such group that mainly habitat in South Gujarat region and their number is more than 5 lakhs. The tribe mainly has settled in the plain areas of the district of Surat, Navsari, Valsad, Bharuch and Vadodara, along with other non-tribal and high-caste Hindu people of rural areas and towns. There are hardly any written literatures or reference material available about this tribe. There are several sub-tribes of Halpatis which include Lala, Valsadia, Barania, Choria, Damani, Haravia, Isaria, Khodia, Talavia and Vahatia. The houses of Halpati comprises of kacha houses with walls made from clay and grass and pakka houses with brick walls and roofs made of cement sheet. Halpati Talavia has no dialect of their own. The language has a mixed impact of several caste communities which surround the Halpati Talvia families such as Desais, Patels, Kolis, Muslims, Parsis and other tribal communities. As regards ornaments, both male female are fond of chain in neck, a circle in hand and rings on the fingers. They do not have the tradition of tattooing. Those who are educated or economically well off prefer ornament made from gold and silver. Halpatis usually take semi-liquid substance made from thick flour. The addiction to wine or liquor is very important. They also consume tea or kava. Bidi and tobacco are very much popular among them. The marriages among the Halpati families are performed by the Brahmin Pandit. He is known as Choriwala. Divorce is permitted in their society and whoever needs a divorce, the matter is referred to the tribal community Panch. The divorcee men and women are also allowed to remarry. Such marriage can be even with a younger brother of the husband. The Halpati Panch is an important social institution comprising of elderly persons of the village. Halpati Panch could be for a village or it could have limited jurisdiction over only a small locality of the Halpati families. Sometimes a Panch has a larger jurisdiction over the whole district and they control the Halpati social life for the entire district. The principal person of Halpati is known as Patel. While selecting a Patel, the age, experience, influence and status of a person are taken into consideration. The most known and most important god of Halpati is Brahmdev. Halpatis have faith in ghost, Vaintari, etc. The greatest festival for Halpatis is Devaso, last day of the Hindu calendar in the month of Ashada. All Halpatis of the village celebrate this festival in a group when marriages of the dolls' girls are arranged. The literacy level among Halpati lies at a very low level. The reasons for their non-inclination towards education are their poor economic conditions, idleness, the addiction for liquor, etc. Some of the suggestions for bringing up level of literacy among Halpatis are compulsory and free education, creating awareness among parents, providing midday meals, etc. The economic condition and health facilities need to be improved in order to promote Halpatis' quality of habitation and hygiene. It is necessary to take concrete measures to improve their economic condition, to bring a drastic change in their occupation pattern, to arouse interest among them for education and to sensitize the concerned government authorities to their needs and problems.
Vasava.
Vasavas mostly habitate in Bharuch, Surat and Narmada districts of Gujarat. They live in single-story houses made of teak or care wood. The walls are made from bamboo strips or cotton plant sticks. The houses are either scattered or in groups. Vasavas have no script of their own. Vasavi dialect is used for conversational purpose. The Vasavas who stay near Kandesh of Maharashtra have effects of Marathi in their dialects. Vasavas use both leafy and root vegetables. Along with vegetarian food, they also consume meat and fish. With regard to education, Vasavas used to follow traditional education, but now, with the benefits of various government schemes like ashram shalas and other schools, the level of literacy is coming up. Vasavas are religious by nature. Under the influence of Hindu culture, they worship Hindu gods and goddesses. In their tribes, they have different religious sects like Hinduism, Christianity, Satkeval sect, Kabir Panth, Swaminarayan, etc. Their main occupation is agriculture, but besides that, they also engage themselves in casual labor, collecting forest products, industrial factories, etc. Vasavas are patriarchy tribes where father is the head figure. His decision is important in matters of family income and expenditure. Vasavas have their own panchayat for systematic administration of social customs. The panch attends to cases of conflicts, divorce, marriage problem, mutual quarrels, etc. The traditional caste panch is effective even today, but there is also a trend of approaching legal court for solving the cases. Vasavas usually arrange marriages in their own tribe, decided either by parents or by self-choice. The prevalence of remarriage is allowed in Vasavas, and divorce takes place only in the case of doubt. When the panch grants divorce, the husband orders for a new sari and he gives a piece of that sari to the wife. This is a symbolic expression, but nowadays, decree to divorce is obtained sometimes through court. Vasavas practice the traditional rites related to death. They have custom of Burma giving lunch to all relatives, friends, and it is called Dhada Pani. And the amount of money spent in Burma ceremony depends upon economic conditions of the family. Talking about their beliefs, Vasavas are superstitious and they believe in ghosts, witches, black magic, and worship their ancestors.
Ratwa.
In India, Ratwa tribes seem to have concentrated mainly in the states of Maharashtra and Gujarat. The Bombay Gazetteer, too, in the year 1925, mentions that Ratwas have originated from the Rath area of Madhya Pradesh, Malwa near Ali Rajpur. The Ratwas in Gujarat have settled in the districts of Panchmahal, Dahod, and Vadodara, and as per 2011 census, they constitute 7.2% of the total tribal population. Traditionally, they can easily be identified by their stout body, fair skin, and well-built structure. They wear colorful dresses. Menfolk put on langoti, which is loose in front, while women put on colorful petticoat and a sari. Ratwas wear heavy ornaments made from gold or silver like kadla and anklet, hansadi, silver mangalsutra, etc. The poor people prefer nickel or artificial metal for ornaments. Ratwas are also fond of tattooing on hand, wrist, etc. In Ratwa tribe, it is customary to keep pithora, wall pictures containing religious legends on walls. They worship Hindu gods and goddesses and celebrate festivals like Diwali, Navratri, Divasa, Holi, etc. Their marriages takes place only when both the parties are major. There are a number of rituals between engagement and marriage. Marriages usually takes place in summer. Ratwas are agriculturists. They take good care of their land and produce crops like maize, urad, wheat, vegetables, paddy, and cash crops. Ratwas have their caste Panch, which works for prevention of crimes in their caste. They handle cases like conflicts in marriage, divorce, property, disputes, occupational issues, etc.
Mobilization of tribes in Gujarat.
State government of Gujarat has been implementing tribal subplan by earmarking certain percentage of its development expenditure to be spent in the scheduled areas. Since 1976, the scheduled areas have been enfolded into integrated tribal development projects for emphasizing single line administration and tackling issues of tribal development in project mode. Many voluntary agencies have taken up the job of granting aid from the state and central government. Forest laborers, cooperative societies, rural credit cooperatives have come into function for mobilizing people for their economic development. Gujarat has been fortunate enough to have Panchayat Raj institutions working well since long. All these have contributed to the socio-economic development of the tribal people. In order to involve local tribals in the process of formulation, planning, and execution of development programs suited to local conditions, Gujarat Pattern was launched by the government in 1997, earmarking of rupees 200 crores out of tribal area subplan as discretionary fund placed at the disposal of tribal development to formulate programs, schemes suited to local tribal needs through district Adijati Vikas Mandals headed by concerned guardians minister of the district. To encourage participation of tribals, government has initiated innovative measures in creating Taluka Adijati Vikas Samiti at Taluka level in the year 2002 so that local inspirations get involved in implementing different schemes. Apart from government machineries, NGOs have involved in the skill development, waterworks and individual benefit distribution works.
Strategies for enhancing their livelihood.
Joint forest management occupies a special significance in this context. A study by the World Bank in the year 2006 indicated that if properly operationalized, JFM, joint forest management, could bring as high as rupees 1 million worth of forest produce for supporting the livelihood of the communities. Gujarat has been one of the leading states for prompting JFM. Proper management of forest and arrangement for benefit sharing may yield significant benefits to the tribals and other households living in these areas.
Conclusion.
We have discussed about the socio-economic and cultural life of tribes of Gujarat. Thank you.